Hi, Tony Bradshaw with AddSomeToYourIncome.com here to talk about how to work through the invention process so that you are creating things of value and getting them to the market. This is in large connection with my directing of Camp Invention. There have been a few times that I have mentioned that I am a director for a summer camp where kids are able to invent solutions to the world's problems. Fascinating to learn about inventors from the National Inventors Hall of Fame. As the director, I have seen this camp grow from about 35 campers to 87 campers on our largest summer. Of course, this last summer, due to the COVID-19, we saw some interesting numbers happen. And this coming summer is also just a little bit more different. We're working at it though. We'll see where we end up. This particular camp has increased my income. It is a result of me asking my principal, what more can I do to make more money? That question is so powerful. What more can I do to make more money? You can ask that question right before you go to bed and see what you wake up with in the morning. You can ask that question of your supervisor. You can ask that question of your business partner. You can ask that question anywhere at any time. See what the answer is. Those answers are golden nuggets. The answer from my principal was more than one thing. From that one question, what more can I do to make more money? More than one thing came to me from the principal because he knew I was willing to do more. He already knew what I was doing. This particular opportunity of being the director of a summer camp was brought to me instead of another teacher. I have, for I believe 6 summers now, been directing Camp Invention. Invention and its process is like composing, creating. It's like writing and putting together the things that are there. It can be very messy. It can be very sloppy. It can come together in a really disorganized way, but you're headed towards a certain solution that you're working on. That creating, that going and drafting things first and drawing them out, writing them out, creating the skeleton of, say, a storyline, or kind of like figuring out a rough outline for your painting, or just kind of what is the structure of the song you're going to compose. All of this is the invention process, the creation process. I have, and you can look at other videos, many quotes about creating. And I say, create like crazy. George Bernard Shaw said he found that 1 out of 10 things actually succeeded, so he had to work 10 times as hard. You got to create and create and create. And as you invent and create, there are things that you think will be successful. You're like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then as you go to actually present it in the market, you might find a couple of things that's kind of like cold water in the face. One being that your product isn't something other people want. Or even more disheartening, your service is something people don't want. You may also find that others may take your idea and steal it. So a warning before you get there, and I love this part of the invention process and how well in Camp Invention they help to teach you to protect your ideas, protect them. Get the copyright, get your trademark, get your patent. Be able to make it so that no one can come along and steal your work. It's called plagiarism. People can come along and steal your work, or your work might accidentally get shared with a couple too many people. For some reason, the story coming to mind was the perspective of the vampire, I think his name's Edward, in Twilight, and she was working on this, rewriting from his perspective, when it got shared with a few too many people, and it got leaked. It was just probably one person like, okay, I'll share it with just you, and I'll just share it with just you, and I'll just share it with just, oh wow, right? So be very careful. Be very careful with your ideas. They're valuable. They are very valuable. And true composers, creators, they know how to get their name on the sheet of music. They know how to sign their name on the painting. This is for those things that you want to be able to have it be in your name, and make sure that you are compensated for the work that you do in the creation process. So back to inventing. You get that rough sketch done, you get that rough outline, and then you start to put in the meat and potatoes, right? You really start putting it together to be able to create what it is that you're creating. In that particular process, there's a lot of trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing, and it would be easy to get discouraged. So I encourage you to check out some of my quotes that I have about keep on keeping on, and keep on keeping on the second time, and keep on keep going on, keep going on, and keep going and going. I love those quotes. They help motivate me. Those particular videos can help you to be able to get past those tough spots when it feels like it just fails, and you get up again and perform, ready to be able to move forward with what you're doing. Again, the failure that can come is actually a part of your success. You learn from the failure. Just like when you hear a lot in sales, when you hear a no, that gets you closer to the next yes, when you just move on. Okay, no for you on this product or service, move on. The ability to be able to keep moving forward, keep going at it, keep inventing is what makes you a truly successful person. Because you have your bumps, your scars, your bruises. You have your mended, broken bones. And you've been able to put yourself back together. And you've been able to even fold in those bumps, scars, bruises, broken bones into what it is that you are sharing with the world. The invention process then starts to get closer and closer. You build your model of what you're actually doing. You've got in other words, you have a structure. If it's a business, it's usually the business plan, and that you have that plan laid out. This is the draft. This is what is going to happen. What gets tricky is the next step of actually doing your plan. You've planned your work, now work the plan. The working and the moving forward and the continually inventing. It's that time where you're grinding on the grindstone. I remember going to a blacksmith shop and seeing the blacksmith put water on that big stone and then pumping with the feet to get that stone spinning. Then take the blade and the flame still would fly off even though the stone was wet. Grinding down the metal of the piece and sharpening it, preparing it, getting it there. That time being grindful is when you really become something. I'm reminded of my to-do list. My to-do list, I have the mindful stuff and the grindful stuff. Mindful, it really takes my thinking. I've got to be able to be in that moment, and it takes a lot of mental capacity. And then there's grindful stuff. Things that just need to be done. That's like being at the grindstone. So I have my mindful and my grindful on my to-dos. You could do the same. You might find it very helpful. I also separate them out between their priority level, like what must be done, what could be done, what should be done. Should and then could. So must be done items are like, okay, next week the grades are due. That's mostly a grindful thing. I just need to get the grading done, and it's got a deadline. So it's starting to get up into that must be done category because the deadline is next week. As I look at other things, like I really should get done some cleaning in the classroom as we're getting near the end of the year, or I could, work on preparing for the lessons and stuff that we're looking at my next year. Those help just divide up how I'm going to focus my time. If I'm feeling very mindful and then I really want to get some priorities done, I look at my must-dos under mindful. If I just, things that something I could do that will help me feel like I'm preparing for the distant future, that's just grindful. I just need to get some stuff done, so things are getting off of the to-do list. I look there, and that's how I organize my to-do list. Let me think of how this connected in with the invention process. Oh yeah, so once you make your plan and you're following through with your plan and you're creating, you will get to that point where it's going to be grindful. It's just going to be. You're going to get to that spot where you're like, I just have to sit down and paint another painting. That point in time is when you really invent yourself. You continue to put your signature style into what you're doing, and you get the next thing done, which for me, right now, has been another video about how to add to your income. Remember, protect your ideas, market what you have, take it to market, and be as grindful as you are mindful in moving forward with the invention process. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.